Toastmasters and lovely guests. The power of networking. This is an example. I just got this book in the mail. It's called the Sugar Detox Cookbook. And I got that through networking. Oh, who's the author? Kristen Yarker. Right from this club. Because what happened was she networked with the people she knew to see who would be prepared to evaluate her book. It's a perfect example of networking. And I even have the pen to get an autographed copy of this book. Which, by the way, my first evaluation was to have been done on an ebook. I got in touch with the person and said, I'm having a little trouble with this. She said, oh, I'll send you a hard copy. Very clever networking thing. Networking has been around for hundreds of years. We tend to forget that. And I was thinking about it recently as I was reading the book, The Fall of Giants by Follett. And it was all networking. It was all networking because it was this royal family with that royal family, or if it was down in the mines, it was this miner with that miner. It was all networking. It's been around for ages. I like to be able to pass on these ideas to my kids to allow them to be successful. And I said, what's the key to being successful? Networking. To some extent it's a key, but what's even more of a key is he or she who asks the most questions wins. Now my kids are all sports athletes, so they want to know, how do you win? The person who asks the most questions in any interaction wins. How many times have you been in a networking function and person A just tells you all about, or they expect you to tell them all about yourself? It's even better if you keep asking questions of them and dig deeper and deeper and deeper. I had this become very clear to me when I attended the Creative Problem Solving Institute in Buffalo, New York. Win Winger, who wrote the Think Like Einstein book, said the key is to dig deep with your questions, but he only asked one question. And why is that important to you now? And when the answer, you say, why is that important to you now? And it is the way to bring out the genius in the other person, but at the same time, it allows you to be an incredible networker, because there's nothing that a person wants to do more than talk about themselves. Now, Ralph Waldo Emerson also had a classic opening for everybody he met. David, what is that Ralph Waldo Emerson quote that I open with every time you and I meet?
What is clear to Vic Lindo today that wasn't clear?
That isn't what I do with you. I said, David, what has become clear to you since the last time we met? Ralph Waldo Emerson, a very famous mystic, actually, in the United States, would open with that. And what has become clear to you since the last time we met? The key is questioning, and the key is he who asks the most questions wins. Now, I taught that to one of my clients, Pete Fry, and we would get into a conversation, and I would be asking him questions. He'd say, well, what do you think, Vic? And I'd say, no, Pete, what do you think? And he said, no, Vic, I'm more interested in what you think. And, well, he was wanting to win the game. And it was interesting because we'd be going back and forth like a ping pong, because we both, but not everybody knows this game. So you get a chance to win every single time by asking more questions. There's many ways to network in this world. How many are members of LinkedIn? Any of you members of LinkedIn? Well, any of you have been to a meetup? Or you've heard of a meetup? What about BNI? Are you familiar? You're familiar with BNI. Are you familiar with Rotary? You're familiar with alumni? You're familiar with sororities, etc., etc., etc. All of these are networking strategies. But the networking strategies only work if you're prepared to ask the questions. My son, his very first job was to work for the Young Entrepreneurs Organization, YEO. And he was given the responsibility to open up all the young entrepreneur chapters throughout the world. That was a perfect example of networking. He wanted to open up a chapter in Tokyo. And most of the people that he was going to be talking to were in the computer industry. He said, it'd be great to get a letter from Michael Dell. How many are familiar with Dell computers? Some of you are familiar with Dell computers? Now, Michael Dell had been a member of YEO. Dean went through his network and network and network till he finally got the letter from Michael Dell, which opened up his opportunity to open up his YEO chapter in Tokyo. He's since taken that to YPO, and he now has a company called International Deal Gateway, where they put people around the world together that have ideas and want financing, or they have financing and want ideas. He's now done that. If you want to be the most successful person in the world in networking, you'll check out Harvey Mackay's 66. Harvey Mackay said, for every contact you have, know 66 pieces of information about every contact. But he goes a bit further. He said, once you make the contacts, you have to be prepared to follow up. You have to be prepared to care. You care by asking the questions. You care by following up. Networking is alive and well today, and we're always involved in it. It doesn't just have to be in business, it can be in family. I connected with my grandson this morning to say, do you have a partner yet for your beach volleyball team? And he got back to me. Connect with family, connect with Toastmasters, connect with the world, and you will be a LinkedIn specialist.